23rd, 2015, and this is your Wednesday Watch. Here's today's dental news. As we go into the winter holidays, we at DNN and Dentistry Today would like to wish you a happy and healthy time to spend with family and friends. Thank you for reading our magazine, watching our weekly broadcasts, and coming up to see us at major dental meetings. Last week's broadcast of our interview with Tony Robbins and Tom Zgainer of America's Best 401k was such a smash hit, we're going to show it again for any of you who may have missed it. As you make resolutions for the new year, consider your practice's retirement plan. Here's an encore presentation of the interview. Please enjoy. Hi, Allie Cook here for Dentistry Today. It is my great pleasure to bring you an interview with Mr. Tony Robbins, who is New York Times #1 best-selling author, and Tom Zgainer, who is CEO of America's Best 401k. Thank you both for joining me today.
Thanks for being here, Heather.
I'd like to first ask you, Tony, how did the two of you come to do business together?
Well, about 4 years ago, after 2008 and the kind of meltdown that went down, about 4 years ago, I started a project where I interviewed 50 of the smartest business minds in the world, self-made billionaires. People started with nothing because I wanted to show people how to go from where they are to where they want to be financially. And in doing that book, one of the biggest things that showed up was that most people's money, the average person, and most dentists' money, and of course your staff's out there, it's in their real estate and it's in their 401k. And the 401k is the one that you can grow the fastest because of its tax advantage, and yet the level of abuse in this system is mind-boggling, and doctors don't have the time, much less their staff, to figure out that literally they could make one change, not have to get any greater return, and have, for example, $300,000 or $400,000 more left at the end of the time that they're going to retire. In other words, have 10 or 20 years worth of income. And I had my own company analyzed, and I was looking for someone, because I have a dozen companies, and I heard about America's Best 401k, and I said, prove it, Tom. And he came in and he did this analysis, and he put $5 million, in one of the small companies I had, he put $5 million right back in the pockets of all my people, and we didn't change anything except go with a different administrator that wasn't charging so much.
Wow. Well, Tom, can you tell us a little bit more about what America's Best 401k does?
Sure. Well, we're providing retirement plans for businesses that have a full-time employee base, whether you have 5 employees or 50 employees, whether you want to start a 401k plan for the very first time, or you have $15 million in assets. And to Tony's point, and it's kind of like what a dentist goes through. A patient comes in, sits in a chair. The first thing they're going to do is look at the visible optics, the things that they could see at the first, right? Most of the problems, though, are lying below, as we know. So now we got to go into deeper things, more exams, more scans, what have you. That's going to show us the foundational root of the problems. Most 401k plans, same way. A 401k plan might start out with a core investment lineup that in theory has very low expenses, but the industry itself has decided to lay fees on top of it, multiple layers, and so at the end of the day, you're starting from a percentage that's very small to one that was kind of like Tony's plan, 10 to 15 times higher. Why? Because they're designed to first line the pockets of those who are providing the services as opposed to those who need it most, the dentist, their employees, their co-workers, their family members, whatever. Those are the ones that need that retirement money at outcome 25, 15, 30 years down the road.
You know what's crazy? It's an industry that for 30 years, it's a $4.4 trillion industry, and for 30 years, they didn't even have to tell you what they were charging you. So they didn't. And then 3 years ago, for the first time, they have to tell you, but most of us can't understand. They make a 35 or 40-page document now to make sure you don't understand. It's so complex, so opaque. And so what people do is they just give up. And they don't realize that 1% versus 3% in fees. The average mutual fund that is available to you, for example, when you go to your 401k, those people pay to be in that position. It's called pay to play. It's not because they're the best. And as a result, what happens is you have 3% in fees, let's say. You think it's 1 or less. If a person had $100,000, say a doctor at 35, and they didn't put any more money in, they grew it just with the market at 8%. At their retirement at 65, if they put any more money in, that's worth $761,000. 700 times the amount of money, just letting it grow. But if you paid 3% in fees, you have $432,000. That's 76% less money. And here's what's worse. Not only have 76% less money and you got the same rate of return, 8%, it was just fees, just hidden fees. But in addition to that, that money will last you 21 years less. So you'll run out of money at 74, and most of us can live 85 plus. And the person who paid 1% in fees will have money till they're 95 years old. So this is not, most people just have no idea. So we created a way for doctors to very quickly, literally in 2 minutes, fill out some information. We do the analysis for them, and we do it for free, and we show them exactly what they're really paying. And if they want to change, it costs them nothing to change. And it literally overnight changes the quality of what people are going to have with their retirement.
That's fantastic. Tell us a little more.
Well, the point of that, too, is that the business owner, the dentist, whoever it might be, has a fiduciary obligation to what we call a benchmark, which is a fancy word for a comparison, right? You're required to compare your 401k plan against alternatives. It's a Department of Labor regulation. Still, folks don't know that they have to do that. To Tony's point, they get this stack of a document. You get past one page, and it's English, but it's not discernible English, right? They cannot articulate how the words go together to have a meaning, to have an outcome. So to Tony's point, what we do, and we've done since the book came out, in Tony's book, he references our fee checker at our website. Over 37,000 people now have gone to the website since the book came out last November to run a fee checker on their 401k plan. It gives them an initial analysis as comparing their plan to industry averages. We then take that data and we take two pieces of information, the disclosure form that Tony mentioned and a notation of any hard dollars they might pay, and we take that and we use it in the element of time. Because until you know the effect of time, you don't know the damages that are going to be incurred over time. So we run it in 5-year increments over 20 years. And you'll see an astonishing result where maybe only a 0.5% difference in fees could account to $3, $4, $5 million lost over 20 years.
I can tell you one more thing. As a business owner, like the dentist watching, one of the things you have to be aware of is every business owner of every small business has to do this annual benchmarking. I had no idea. Like 99% of the people I talk to have no idea. And if you don't, the Department of Labor just shared the rules and the impact last year, 2014. Last year, 75% of the people they audited were out of compliance. And as a result, the average penalty is $600,000. You're trying to do something for yourself and your employees, and you get $600,000. So our free fee checker, once we do this for you, put it in the safe. Even if you don't do business with us, you're protected. If you ever get audited, you've complied and you're in great shape. But usually what really people happen is they start to say, my God, I had no idea, because it's all hidden. They have all these, some people you can say, well, we use, Vanguard, or we use, passive investments, or we use low-cost funds. But what they don't show you is they have these terms like CAC on the side, or AMC, and it's like administrative charges of 1%, of 2%, of 3%, and every 1% means 10% less income at your retirement. 10 years, I should say, not 10%, but 10 years less income for every 1%. So if you're paying 2%, that's 20 years of the money you just missed out on. That's why I give you the example of the 1 and the 3%, so you understand. So what we want to invite people to do is to do this. We want to earn your business by adding value to your life. We're very passionate about it. We're disrupting the industry. And what's nice is it's something you can do in 2 minutes, and we do the work for you.
I think a lot of our viewers will be interested to do this. Where can they go for the
So at americasbest401k.com, the tab at the top left will say Fee Checker. And it's literally your name, your phone number, your plan name, click submit, done. You immediately get the industry report. It populates on screen. We get an automatic response back at that same time, and then we go into immediate contact to ask for the other two pieces of information to now do the accurate plan-specific comparison. And to Tony's point, that now becomes golden. Whether you make a change or whether you ultimately maybe find out you have a pretty good plan, now you have a safety feature, right? You can stick that in your safe and say, we're covered. Department of Labor knocks on your door. We've gone through the process.
But I'll tell you this, it's very rare that I find, my company, we give people the best. I want to take care of my employees. You think you're doing the best, and then you find out reality. On average, people take 30 seconds to fill this out, and they save 57%. 57%. You've heard of Geico, 15 minutes will save you 15% or more. 15. Forget that. I'll give you 57%, which can be millions of dollars for even a small dental practice very often for them and for all their employees over time.
It's amazing how quickly it adds up. I had no idea either, so this has been very...
Power of compounding.
Yeah, very, very enlightening for me, too. Do you have anything else to add?
Well, just to Tony's point, for example, if a lot of dentists have plans that fall into a $500,000 to $1.5 million asset range, the total assets in the plan, right? Just to give you a ballpark round figure, if you had a plan with $1 million in assets and you put $100,000 of new dollars into that plan each year, and you reduced your cost by that 57%, that'd be a savings of about $1.7 million over 20 years. Now, when you think of that targeted group, maybe you have the dentist and 5 staff, right? That's having that dentist work 10 more years or not. That's how critical that number becomes.
Well, thank you both for your time today.
Thank you very much.
This has been a pleasure, and thank you for watching at dentistrytoday.com.
Thank you, Allie.
Thanks for checking out the Wednesday Watch, and again, happy holidays. We'll see you in 2016.